your power.
What is going on, FG3000? Back in the place to be, and welcome back to Aether Gazer. So during the last reset, I did my very first Lone Wolf solo max difficulty dimensional variable run with Arctic Abyss Poseidon. So in today's video, I want to give you guys my impressions after the run, some pros, some cons, and whether you should be running this gameplay mode solo or with a full team of mods the way it's meant to be. Or is that even the way it's meant to be? Who can really say, right? Who can say? So let's talk about it. Now, first things first, now this is very specific to Arctic Abyss Poseidon. It is so much easier to get the enemy's attention, get them all grouped up in a nice little bundle, freeze them and DPS them down like crazy. Like, dude, Arctic Abyss Poseidon is straight easy mode playing solo. Like, it is so easy. And especially after you get, you know, a bunch of sigils, some codes, some treasures, you get to a point where it's like, you can't lose. As long as you're away and you have at least one hand on your phone, where's that other hand, FG? What? As long as you are just moderately paying attention, you get to a point where you just can't lose. The enemies are just like walking towards you, you freeze them, you DPS them down, and you move on. So that's a pro very specific to Arctic Abyss Poseidon. I haven't used any other characters just yet, so I'm not sure if playing solo with like Tsukiyomi, for example, is anywhere near as pleasant, so that remains to be seen, and I probably will do another solo run with a different character to give myself some, you know, a different perspective, right? So that's number one. Another thing that is really nice is the fact that you can gear out your character with only one character in mind, right? You only have one character, so there's a lot of things that you can abandon, building up coins, and then when you get to the dimensional shop, you usually have a lot of money where you can buy even more things to make this one character get extremely overpowered, right? Now, killing is a little bit slower, but like I said, once again, it just feels so much safer because there is so much less visual clutter on the screen. Now, I know I threw a lot of shade at PGR and Genshin Impact for the whole switch character mechanic, and I do still prefer Aether Gazer much more than those other games. Like, I definitely prefer having my characters out with me, fighting alongside with me. Like, I like that, but it has to be said, with them gone, there is just so much less special effects on the screen, so you can really see clearly the enemy attacks, the telegraphs. Like, dude, it's like playing in the Matrix. Like, you see everything coming almost in slow-mo. So you'll find yourself, even though you're alone, going through a lot of these stages, not getting hit a single time, versus when you're playing with a full team of mods, you would have gotten hit a lot more just because, you know, sometimes it's just hard to see, there's a lot going on, etc., right? So those are my pros, right? So specific to Arctic Abyss Poseidon, being able to really just get enemies grouped up together, freeze them all in a clump, DPS them down is fantastic. Way less visual clutter when you're running by yourself, and you really get to a point where you can make yourself extremely overpowered because you're only gearing for one character, right? So those are the pros, but there are a few cons as well. So the runs take longer. Obviously, you're by yourself. No matter how strong you get, you're still kind of by yourself. So the runs take, I would say, at least about 20 minutes longer to do a solo run. Also, your runs can end without your skill issue being an issue. All right, like, sure, FG. No, not for real. There are certain situations where your run is just over and there's nothing you can do about it, right? So there are certain fights where you have a timer, and I'm not talking about the timer fights where the more you kill, the more time you get. I mean the ones that are just like 1 minute, win or lose. Like, those fights can be extremely hard to get through, especially early on. Sometimes you can get away with it once you kind of get overpowered, but when you're in chapter 1 and chapter 2 and you get a stage where you have to beat it within a minute, you probably just simply won't have the DPS to do it, instantly ending your run, right? Another con has to be the escort quest. I talked about this before. Dude, those escort quests are so annoying when you're by yourself because, once again, when you have a full team of mods, the enemies have a lot more targets. When it's just you and that little red robot, dude, those enemies become like snipers. Like, they kill that robot so fast, and once again, it's really hard if you don't have enough power or you don't get enough, you know, luck streaks to get past those stages. Once again, that can instantly end your run. I even tried like stepping in front of some of the shots to try to like soak up damage like a tank, but it's really annoying. But other than that, dude, that's really it. There's not a lot of cons to running solo. So the way they kind of balance either running a full team of mods or running only one mod is actually really impressive. So I say it actually just comes down to just personal preference, baby. Like, if you like running solo or you like running with a full team of mods, I do feel that they both bring enough pros and cons to the table to kind of like even themselves out, right? So completely up to you. What a great video, FG. The answer to the question is, hey, it's up to you. But for the rest of this video, let's do some live react to some of my gameplay here. So this is all on chapter 4. Once again, max difficulty. And you can see, dude, these freezes last so long, and you guys know my strategy when it comes to dimensional variable. I take everything to make my modified time as long as possible, because that's extremely important when you fight bosses. I'm the type of player that my skill level, all right, my skill level is like pretty extreme, dude. I'm like Super Saiyan 3 skill level when it comes to gamerness, all right? Don't fact check it, just respect it. But the longer the battle goes, I gotta admit, man, my gamer mode starts getting limper and limper the longer the battle goes, because I start like seeing the life bar get down to 2 and to get to 1, and sometimes I start making silly mistakes. Sometimes I get aggressive. So having a long modified mode really is helpful for me, because you can normally kill a boss in a single modified mode chain. Like, dude, you can really just eat their life bars away, which is so good for me. Because like I said, dude, I play really, really good in the beginning, and it just gets worse from there. Luckily, I started at a high level. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. But you can see here, dude, most of these stages are complete no damage runs. Now, something I bet a lot of you guys have already noticed, I don't actually try very hard to trigger dodge effects when I'm running solo. Now, you might once again think it's a skill issue. It ain't no skill issue, all right? I could have dodged that. I could have totally dodged that. But I find when I run solo, it's just not worth the risk, because once again, I'm in no danger of dying, so I don't really need to trigger dodge effects. And if I slip up and I actually get hit by one of those telegraphs because, I don't know, I was sloppy and I just missed the dodge, it takes so much of your life away. Like almost, you could almost get 2-shot if you miss one of those telegraphs. So I just play it safe. I don't need the dodge effect, so I don't really trigger it. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just waiting for my cooldowns. Everyone group up, let me DPS you down, and I just call it a day. So not a skill issue, all right? Not a skill issue. Another thing that I recently did that you guys might notice, I made my dodge button way bigger. Because I found myself, I knew my timing was like perfect. Like, dude, I should have dodged that, but I didn't dodge, I didn't even move. It's because I was just like slightly missing the dodge button, not no more. So I made the dodge button a lot bigger. And it also helps because when you do ultimates, right? If you don't know, when you do an ultimate, all of the buttons disappear. And I found myself, once again, when I had a smaller dodge button, kind of losing where it is, because once the ultimate is over, there's no iframes, right? If you do an ultimate and an enemy is about to hit you, they're gonna hit you right after your ultimate's done, and it could be devastating. And I know it's coming, but when I had a smaller dodge button, I wouldn't know where the dodge button was going to be, because once again, when you do an ultimate, all the buttons disappear. Now, once again, I don't have that problem. So I would recommend maybe making your dodge button a little bit bigger if you run into those issues. Dude, FG giving all type of facts and tips. Who knew? But once again, look at this, dude. Just complete devastation. And this is gonna make me go deep, real deep for Arctic Abyss Poseidon. I think I wanna go ahead and get her fully transcended, because she is just so useful, a fantastic character, whether you main her or you have her as a support on your team. Because just being able to throw these bad boys out, freeze everybody, she just brings so much to the team. Think about how much healing that you save yourself when you have like another AI on your team. All the damage that you this is basically a shield. Like these freezes are an indirect shield, because no damage is being done and you're still dealing damage, which is really, really great for the AI that's on your team that you feel like constantly get hit by attacks that they shouldn't get hit by, dying too early in the run. So instead of like bringing like raw heals with like the other Poseidon, think about this Poseidon as like another type of support, preventative damage support, right? Also, she does a ton of damage. She sets up chains really, really well. Like, she's a really good character. I like her quite a bit. And once again, unlike the healing Poseidon, you still don't give up that much DPS going this way. And that also makes you really, really safe. And it kind of opens up the door to allow you to use different modifiers as well. Because there's sometimes I want to use a modifier like in Hazard Zone Cleaning, for example. But Hazard Zone Cleaning, the very last stage, it's like a gauntlet, right? It goes for a very long time. And if you're not on your complete A game, you kind of need to bring heals to that. Once again, with Arctic Abyss Poseidon, sometimes you really don't, because you're not going to be taking damage a lot, because once again, everyone's going to be frozen. So something to think about if you're looking for someone to kind of have your back as an AI, as a person that's gonna bring a lot to your team, and most importantly, almost never die. Like, it's very, very rare that I'm in a situation where a Poseidon is dead and I'm not dead. Like, I'm usually dead before Poseidon is dead, which is super useful. Can't say that about any other mods in this game, at least not the melee ones. I haven't really used any of the ranged ones. I really do want to get Mistletoe powered up. So that's something that I'm definitely working on. But Poseidon is just a character. She stays super safe and she stays super supporty. So very, very nice. And this is another reason why I use Innocence Osiris as my main, because once again, between having these freezes and having the ability to heal myself if I ever have any problems with Osiris, it just makes it just so much faster to be able to bring another DPS in a situation like that. So I bring Osiris, Innocence, I bring Arctic Abyss, Poseidon, and then just another DPS. You'll be just ripping through stages like crazy, my friends. So that's gonna do it for today's video on Dimensional Variable. Go down in the comments, let me know, are you guys preferring to run solo or are you running with a full team of mods? I would love to know. For the last part of this video, I'll leave you guys with no commentary and just me versus the very final boss, Dimensional Variable, max difficulty, 410. Have a good day. What? Have a good day. I'm out.
Arctic Abyss, show your power.
I will allow.
Arctic Abyss will enslave your sins.
Get on your knees and beg for my forgiveness.
I'm ready for it.
My children, tear them apart! Just mortals, that's all.
Arctic
You're
Abyss
not
will
going
enslave your sins.
anywhere.
I leave it in your hands, Arctic Abyss. Nothing can escape the vast ocean's chill.
Remain here forever.
I'm ready for it. Stop now. Arctic Abyss will enslave your sins. I can go. Nothing can escape the vast ocean's
Go, my
chill.
children. Go and have your fill.
This is your salvation. Arctic Abyss will inflict. Nothing can escape the vast ocean's chill. I'm ready for it. I leave. Nothing can escape the vast ocean's chill.